I don't see how we can make bigger enemies.
To be offended or frightened of everything.
So you've become like the sort of Tony Scarface of podcasting.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to The Morning Show, brought to you by Pantelis Comedy. In the chair to my right, we've got George Rizos, a man of politics and societal norms.
Fucking hammered.
And to the left of me, actually, in front of George, we got Ted Bird, the bird of Ted.
An unemployed man with no prospects. But he had a good run.
Welcome to The Morning Show. Patreon.com/Pantelis if you want more nonsense. All right.
Good morning, everyone. Sorry about that. Fucking people want to wake up.
That was good. I like that.
It was not bad. It wasn't bad.
Yeah. He's practicing his commercial voice. Radio hasn't affected me any, everybody.
Welcome to The Morning Show, everyone. Happy Wednesday. Glad to be here. Glad to have you here. Head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Get yourself a subscription. Exclusive content being pumped out of that channel daily. So find one that suits your needs and be part of the Pantelis, what's it called? The universe, the Pantelis verse. What do you call it? Whatever it is, the Pantelis universe. Subscribe to this channel. Help this community grow. Not that it's small. I mean, it's fucking huge. He's over 40,000 subscribers, which is amazing.
Yep.
And then you can follow the Poseidon69. I am Poseidon.com. Ted Bird, ladies and gentlemen, the man, the myth, the legend. Just weeks away from a brand new season of Standing By, the Terry and Ted podcast with none other than Terry Dimonte. How's it going?
Good. We're getting our ducks in a row. It's difficult to get ducks in a row if they're not baby ducks.
Yeah.
Baby ducks, they go in a row, they get behind their mom, and they're all in a row. But then they grow up, and it becomes a little bit like herding cats. So we're getting our ducks in a row, and we hope, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn here, or out of school, or whatever the expression is. We're looking tentatively, if the stars align, at a Tuesday, June 10th relaunch.
June?
What am I saying? September.
Okay.
Yeah, how are we going to go back in time?
Yeah, seriously. So I don't know why I came up with June. September 10th. Tuesday, September 10th.
Okay.
Relaunch of the Standing By podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah. And I have so
That's
much
coming along. It's not that far
I
away.
got so much news about the podcast, the Terry and Ted podcast, that I don't think I'm allowed to share.
No,
it yet. So
don't share it. Keep the surprise alive.
I got to keep my big mouth shut. But there's, the relaunch is going to include some major and exciting changes. And this weekend, on Sunday, August 18th, Terry and I are going to be judges at Ribfest Montreal at the old, I don't know if it's old. I think it's still, is it still the Pierrefonds Comprehensive High School in Pierrefonds?
I don't know anything.
Yeah.
Anything west of the 13, you lose me.
Pierrefonds Comprehensive High School. Just go online to Ribfest Montreal. You can find them on Facebook. I think they've got their own website as well. And it's a 3-day. It's 3 days of stuff your face and get sauce all over your chin and your shirt.
Yeah.
And bring lots of wipes and Zantac. But it's going to be great. Terry and I are going to be there on Sunday, and we're going to judge the ribs, and we're going to say a few words to the crowd. And it's all for good cause too. It's in conjunction with the Strangers in the Night fundraiser. held annually on the West Island, and it raises money for various and sundry West Island charities, including, if I'm not mistaken, Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the West Island and the West Island Black Community Association.
Nice.
WIBCA, West Island Black Community Association, and other charities as well. Ribfest and Strangers in the Night are both absolutely fantastic events. Welcome back, George.
Thanks, guys. I missed you.
He unplugged for 2 weeks. I don't know how you can do that. I'm addicted to my phone. I can't unplug.
I'm afraid to say it because I'm ashamed mostly, but I think I'm addicted as well. But I don't know what happened over the last week and a half. And I didn't realize that I had disconnected to that point until my friend Salim, I was telling you this on the way in, we were talking, exchanging, because our podcast is going to start this week, Politiquement Parlant. And we're going to get to the story eventually. He's like, what the fuck's wrong with you? Where have you been? I'm like, dude, I've disconnected. He goes, how? How did you not see this? Are you kidding me? This big thing happening over at the Liberal Party here in Quebec. And I'm like, holy shit, fuck, did I really disconnect that much? And then I realized that I barely even looked at my phone. It was nice.
Yeah.
It was good.
Yeah. Pantelis sat in for George 2 weeks ago. Avi Goldberg sat in last week. Did you enjoy Avi?
Yes.
Poseidon? Interesting guy, eh?
Yeah, interesting.
Yeah, Avi Goldberg. It doesn't get any more Jewish than Avi Goldberg.
It doesn't.
But
No.
I'm a bigger Zionist than Avi is.
Wow. Yeah.
Avi's sort of the anti-Jewish Jew kind
And
of thing.
he's a professor at Concordia.
Vanier, actually.
Vanier, sorry, okay,
Vanier
yeah.
College. Yeah, he's a PhD. He's a really interesting cat. Avi and I are on completely opposite sides of the ideological divide. He's very progressive, and I'm old school, get a haircut, get a real job conservative, but he's a very reasonable man, and Avi and I can sit across the table from each other, and often do.
What does he
and
teach?
disagree in a civilized manner. He teaches sociology.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I'm glad that he came, and I'm surprised at the same time that they allowed him to come on a platform where anything could probably happen, you know?
Yeah, I don't know if he has to clear it, but I mean, I think, with tenure comes comes privilege, I suppose. Look at Gad Sad,
Right.
on Twitter,
can do
Concordia
whatever the fuck.
professor.
Yeah,
he
you're right.
he says like he's really controversial.
Yeah.
he's really controversial
It depends
and
where you
outspoken.
stand, because if you stand where I stand most of the time, listening to him is actually refreshing.
Well, yes, I agree with you 100% because I'm on the same side of the ideological divide as him. But he's even like he's outrageous sometimes with the way he, or it could be perceived as outrageous. I agree with what he says, but
I think every time I see him, the only thing in my mind is he going to get fucking fired?
that's what yeah. I think he triggers the left so much. Speaking of Jewish, Poseidon, I thought of this when I was speaking about Avi. Find the clip that I emailed you. I think the subject field is Jews at Home Depot. This guy here, this made me laugh so hard yesterday because this is Avi. And this guy's name is Modi. He's a comedian named Modi. He's Jewish. And this is Avi and every Jew I know and me shopping at Home Depot. I'm the same.
You can send me these links on Twitter directly.
I can, eh?
Yeah.
All right. Well, maybe I'll do that next time. Yeah.
Look, I don't mind. I'm just saying maybe you didn't know.
Yeah. I love it. Out of 100 Jews, if not all 100, will tell you that's absolutely true.
I don't think it's only reserved to Jews.
No, for sure. Like I say, I'm the same,
Yeah.
And Terry DeMonte likes to say, he's the same too. He says, his toolbox at home, and this is a dated joke because the yellow pages don't exist anymore, but he used to say if you open his toolbox, it has a checkbook and the yellow pages.
That's so funny.
Yeah, I'm like that too. But that was so beautifully executed. That was great comedy.
Yeah,
great comedy. Yeah, Modi is the guy's name, M-O-D-I.
Oh, that's so funny. Yeah. I feel like that sometimes at Home Depot, and he's right. There's no one ever available.
Yeah.
Never.
Oh, yeah. You got to wander up and down the halls.
And then when you find someone, oh, no, I don't work in that department. I don't know. Let me get you someone.
While I'm thinking about it, speaking of wandering up and down the halls at the store, I was at Walmart yesterday in Point Claire, and there was a guy looking for his kid, and his kid's name was Marco.
Oh, no. I can almost see it.
You know where it's going, right? So he's walking up. I'm coming this way in the aisle, and he's coming the other way, and he's going, Marco! Marco. So what do you think I did?
That's so funny. The poor guy's lost his son.
Yeah, but he laughed. He laughed. Yeah, everybody in earshot laughed.
Oh, God.
And then he continues up the aisle and he's going, Marco, and I hear other people, Polo. It was great. It was just great.
Oh, man, that's so fucking funny.
I loved it.
I can't imagine losing my kids, man, honestly. I've seen parents.
Well, as a kid was like, he wasn't in a panic. It's, it was obvious the kid was old enough to wander off on his own. He was just trying to round him up because it was time to leave.
I can't remember where we were. We were with my wife. Did we have a baby? I can't remember. And we walk into some store, and it was clear that it was the grandmother, and she had one kid, and she had lost the other one, and she was panicking. They were both crying. Like Adam, and they were, and I felt my heartbeat, like oh my God, poor woman. I'd beat up my mother-in-law or even my mother if she lost a kid,
Yeah, I remember getting lost at Zeller's in Fredericton when I was about 3 or 4 years old. I specifically remember it because I remember how panicked I was being lost. And it was, in retrospect, it wasn't a giant store, and they just went on the intercom and said, if anyone has lost a very handsome 3 or 4 year old boy who's probably going to grow up to be a tremendous broadcaster, could you please come to customer service?
But it's easier now. I mean, we're teaching our kids, if ever, don't panic, just stay where you are, find an adult, get a phone, and call us.
Go with the man who has candy.
That man that has to show you dogs in his van, go to him. We'll find you. That's cute little puppies.
Yeah, that's actually on a very funny list that's been out for 1,000 years. It even predates the internet. I remember reading a hard copy of it. Failed children's books, unsuccessful children's books, and one of them was called "Strangers Have the Best Candy." What else was there? The Magical World Inside the Abandoned Refrigerator.
That's so funny.
Daddy drinks because you cry.
Oh man, that's
Isn't
so
that
funny.
awful? Funny though.
Yeah, it is funny.
Yeah, can't say that these days though. Somebody might get offended. Don't want to offend anybody, George.
It's funny because we talk about all these things coming in, and we should keep it for the podcast. But I can't just keep my mouth shut. You're walking in the car.
Yeah.
Hey, Ted.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're living in a time where it's so difficult to imagine or to even think of how we even got here. We're looking at what's happening in the U.S. We're looking at what's happening here in Canada, and we're like, how does this even happen? It feels like from one year to the next, just we woke up and it was like, what the fuck is happening?
Yeah, you're not allowed to make a joke about a man in a dress who insists he's a woman.
Yeah.
If you make that joke, you're running the risk of being canceled, either socially ostracized or losing your job.
It's become about, okay, how do we please everyone and not have anyone complain about anything?
If you try to be all things, if you try to be all things to all people, you'll be nothing to anyone.
Just on a side note, and this wasn't part of the list.
Very well said.
It is.
That's very well said.
Thank you.
And this wasn't part of the things that we were going to talk about, but it just reminded me. Yves-François Blanchet, he's the leader of the Bloc Québécois in Ottawa, the separatist party in Parliament. And he came out against the city of Montreal because when you walk into City Hall, they had a bunch of renovations done and everything, and they recently reopened. And as you walk in, the first thing you see is like this welcoming banner, like a little thing in the wall. And it says, "Bienvenue à l'Hôtel de Ville de Montréal." And there's I think 3 or 4 images of people. And one of them is a woman wearing a veil. And he went off on that. He's like, what the fuck is this shit? You know what I mean? And not that he's against Muslims, but it's like, why are we trying so desperately?
It's pandering.
Yeah,
it's pandering.
To please everyone. Why are we politicizing this shit?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, if you watch television now and you watch commercials quite often as not, I would say, the commercials involve some element of the LGBTQ plus community. Quite often, the couples in the commercials now are same-sex couples. Very often in commercials now, the couples are interracial, and that's fine.
Yeah,
that exists, but it's just so obviously calculated, and to what end? Yeah. And if you point that out, as I'm doing right now, then I am both racist and homophobic, merely for making the observation.
As if you can't discuss it, as if you can't talk about these things. I hate that.
Yeah.
It bothers
Well,
me.
look at what's happening in England right now.
Yeah.
People are getting put in jail.
Well, let's talk about that. I missed that whole thing.
Okay.
I didn't watch TV. I didn't have my phone on me. And then at some point, I see riots and fucking kids dying. And what the hell happened?
Well, my understanding is it all began with 3 children being stabbed to death, 3 little girls being stabbed to death. I think the suspect is the son, if I've got it straight, and I believe I do, is the son of Rwandan immigrants. I don't believe he's an immigrant himself, but it triggered protests in the streets, anti-migrant protests in the streets. And
Where was this?
In England.
London, yeah.
Yeah, in I think Southport.
Southport,
was the name of the town where it happened.
Which ironically is in the north part of London.
Yeah. So the anti-migrant crowd.
Yeah, but sorry, I'm cutting off. When they were conquering the world, they had they flipped the map upside down and they
got they were confused. So
the anti-migrant crowd used that as a pretext to go out in the streets and demonstrate against mass immigration to England. And you can make a legitimate case for a lot of European countries and for our country as well, I suppose, and for the United States. You can make a case against the level of immigration that we're experiencing right now. The problem is all the right-wing nut jobs came out and used it as an excuse. And so the British government in turn used that as an excuse to clamp down on so-called hate speech. So if you go on Twitter or X in England and say, there's too many fucking immigrants coming into this country, we should kick them all out, you can be charged with a hate crime and put in prison. Yes, people have been imprisoned already. People have been hauled into court and thrown into prison.
How long?
I think like a year and a half or more.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah, if you Google it,
we have that here too.
If you Google it,
Are you serious?
It's
part of the online. What is it called? The Online Harms Bill.
What's it called?
It hasn't been passed yet, but
C11 or whatever it is.
It hasn't been passed, I don't believe, but it's in the system. It's working its way through the system. Yeah, you can. If this Online Harms Bill in Canada passes, you can be jailed for the rest of your life for something you say on social media.
It's ridiculous.
Just for something you say.
Yeah.
And I'm on the I err on the side of I might not agree with what you say, but I will defend to my death your right to say it.
Having regard to all the circumstances, racial hatred is likely to be stirred up thereby. Offenses under Part 3 carry a maximum sentence of 7 years imprisonment or fine or both.
Is that in England?
UK.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. So who gets to define what hate speech is?
That's the thing, and that was the biggest debate here in Canada because we have a criminal code in Canada that defines pretty well what the punishment for any quote unquote hate crime. You're inciting violence or inciting anything, like a Nazi, like waving a Nazi flag is a criminal offense. You get arrested for it because you're inciting hatred towards Jews or whatever.
It's less of a criminal offense these days, though.
Yeah,
in the current circumstance,
Yeah, exactly.
Lots of people online hating on the Jews.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nothing's happening.
Yeah.
If you threaten someone, it's criminal. So everything is prescribed under the criminal code. So what exactly is hate speech? Like, what is that? Like, how do you define hate speech? Because if I say, fuck Greeks, they should all die, that's already part of the criminal code. I'm inciting hatred and I'm threatening.
Where am I going to get calamari?
You know what I mean? Yeah. What's going to happen?
Well, what if you're already Marvin's is going to close? I'm not for that at all.
But if I come out and say, "Oh, Greeks are so dumb, they don't know anything," is that hate speech? It shouldn't be.
No.
And I'm using Greek, so I won't use any other ethnic minority. I think we all understand. But So that's what's confusing about it, in my opinion. And I don't know, I haven't read it.
Yeah, there's
I
just,
haven't
the
read
gray
bill
area.
either.
The gray area is just way too big.
Because everything here is online as well, right? They're trying to control the messages and the content that is put out online. How are they going to regulate? I don't know. And it's already... like when you go online, it's a free for all. I mean, everyone does whatever the fuck they want. So how are you going to be able to monitor everything, right? I mean, I don't know.
Maybe they think that they can and should regulate it the way that radio and television are regulated by the CRTC.
Which is what? Like a code of conduct kind of thing?
Yeah.
Conduct.
Yeah, but again, it goes back to my initial question. How do
the
you monitor?
Yeah, with the CRTC, you're only regulating professionals, right? Professional broadcasters. With the internet, you'd have to regulate everybody. That makes a good segue into the boxer.
Yes.
The Algerian boxer. Imani Khalif, who won a gold medal at the Paris Olympics about a year after being disqualified at the World Women's Boxing Championships, because according to the IBA, International Boxing Association, Khalif had tested XY chromosome, which would make him/her a biological male.
Yeah.
But the IOC parted ways with the International Olympic Committee, parted ways with the IBA and said the IBA is not credible. Anyway, all of that to say, he/she is suing Elon Musk, J.K. Rowling, and anybody else, and that would include me, who, quote unquote, cyberbullied him/her.
He's trying to secure the bag. It's very manly of him to really go after the money like that. Seriously.
It takes balls.
Exactly. Yeah. Especially against Elon Musk.
Here's what I don't understand. And of course, we're not experts. I don't know anything about the human body and how these things work, how hormones work and everything. But if I understand from everything that has been said, like from her point of view, she's a woman that has a hormonal imbalance that gives her much more testosterone than any regular woman. And it could be controlled. However, she'll use that to her advantage because of sports. But to me, and I read a lot of that stuff, and I'm like, okay, I understand the hormonal imbalance, but that has an impact on your genes, like XY, like to that point. That's what I understand. Like if you have an XY chromosome, the way we learned it, you're a man, right?
All I gotta say is, if you're a freak, go to the circus.
No, but I'm saying that you could be a woman and have more testosterone and have men-like attributes and strength and appearance and height and all that stuff. But in the end, you'll still have XX, right? Because you're a woman. You're born a woman. So if you're born with an XY chromosome, that's what I don't understand. And maybe I'm lost completely. Maybe it's possible. I don't know. But it's really messed up. That's what it is.
One of the angles of this that has been reported by multiple sources is that this individual suffers from something called different sexual development, or difference of sexual development. The same thing that affects Caster Semenya, a middle distance runner who won a gold medal in Rio in 2016.
Okay.
And looks like a dude and runs like a dude.
Yeah.
Right. And these people have, and I'm only quoting what's being reported. Kamani was assigned female at birth and had, by all appearances, female genitalia.
Like biologically, she's a woman.
Yeah. At birth was assigned, was raised as a woman, but because of this DSD, has internal testes and went through male puberty.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And this is why these tests, and these are legitimate tests. These tests are, people say, oh, the IBA is a discredited organization. Say what you want about the IBA, and that's debatable because the IBA is just politically at odds with the IOC. It's not like the IOC is the fucking model for integrity and virtue, right?
Yeah.
So these tests that demonstrate that this boxer had XY chromosomes were conducted in labs that were accredited by the College of American Pathologists and certified by the International Organization for Standardization. So these tests are legitimate. The tests are legitimate. And from my understanding, if this individual has XY chromosome, that makes them a biological male who suffered through or who had this DST. I mean, this is how complicated and ridiculous it is. I saw a clip of this Caster Semenya saying, just because I have testicles, that doesn't make me any less of a woman.
What?
That's crazy.
Look, this is very confusing, and I mean, look,
Like sexually or like?
no, but I'm saying like it just like biology could be just so messed up at somebody, and I'm sure this is as rare as they come, right?
Yeah, it is. It's
because
it's
you're born with female
condition.
organs, but inside you're a male, so. Like,
It's intersex.
Yeah.
It's what's referred to as intersex. It's very rare.
Is this the same thing like hermaphrodites, or hermaphrodites are women with
I don't know.
born with penises?
I don't know. But at the end of the day, where I would err is on the side of not putting female competitors in an unfair situation or at risk of physical injury.
But I can also understand her point of view where she's born a woman, right? Like physically, she's born with a vagina and well, she doesn't have breasts, but biologically.
I got a nicer rack than she does.
So do I. And but because of this hormonal or genetic imbalance, she has internal testicle, which I've never even heard of. But I'm just trying to see it objectively from her point of view. She must feel like, look, dude, I'm a girl. Okay, fuck, yeah, I look like a man because of this disposition or whatever it is inside me. And I can understand her feeling cheated by, not being able to participate in boxing.
Well, at this point,
because if she goes to box with men, she's gonna get he's gonna get his ass kicked. I don't think she has that level of strength, but it is above your average women.
Yeah, if you watched Khalif or the other one, the one from Taiwan, Lin Tu-Ying, I think was their name. They're just dominant. They're dominant in the ring.
Versus women.
It looks like a guy beating up a woman. So again, I go back to,
the safety and security.
Yeah,
of the athletes.
exactly, and and the fairness as well. If it's not
the
fair,
fairness
it's not
would
fair.
be that if you were born a woman, but that's where the question mark is: are you or not a woman? But it's not her fault or his fault.
There is still more scientific proof, basically, mostly based on the XY chromosome test. There's more scientific proof that this is a biological male than there is that it's a biological woman. I've heard it said that they were born with a vagina, but I'm not. I don't subscribe to their OnlyFans page, so I don't know. I've heard it said that they were assigned female at birth and raised as a woman. The only thing that indicates that this individual is a woman is the designation on their passport, and that's the only requirement that the Olympics have. That's the only thing. What does it say in your passport? Female? Okay, you're good. Go fight the girls.
I mean, there must be other tests that they do. They can't just allow people to compete that way.
Yes, they do. At the Olympics, they do. They don't. They used to do sex testing, but they don't anymore.
They don't?
They don't anymore, and they haven't for something like 25 years because it was considered invasive.
That's ridiculous.
Ugh. Dude, you know what pisses me off? Like in men's boxing or MMA or whatever, you're half a pound off and the match is off. Like, it's insane. Half a pound off and they're like, you can't compete. Bro, what the fuck? We're talking about a man, somebody with the testosterone.
Basically, because of the security and protection of the athletes. Like if you're a pound above or 2 pounds, it could significantly impact the force that you're punching someone with.
So like we're talking about on the base level where the bone structure is stronger, the muscle mass is greater, the hitting force is greater. Yeah. Not to mention the height difference, and for sure, I'm sure there was a difference in weight.
Well, no, they box.
They box within their weight category.
Yeah, but
so
66 kilograms, which is about 140 pounds.
Yeah. So all of a sudden, like, oh no, that's fine. But dude, in like men's MMA, the UFC, dude, they're half a pound off, and they're like, no, you have to make weight.
Well, it's going to be interesting in this court case to see if Khalifa has to produce documented scientific evidence that she is in fact a woman.
This is going forward. She's actually suing them.
Yeah. She has filed she's filed a complaint in France under French law against anyone who has cyberbullied her, and she specifically names Elon Musk and J.K. Rowling.
She's not going to come after us. We got nothing.
That's so stupid. That's insane.
She's wasting her time. She's going to come after me, but J.K. Rowling and Elon Musk. But good luck to him/her because they've got some resources. If you don't know who J.K. Rowling is, she wrote all the Harry Potter books, so she's doing okay.
The only thing that I'm thinking about is because I don't know about the French law, so there must be a reason why her lawyers recommended that she does it under the French law, because maybe it would be in her favor. Who knows? I don't know.
I don't know why. Maybe it's because everything that it's based on happened in France. It happened during the Olympics in Paris. So, and by the way, the circus isn't over yet. There's the Paris Paralympics are coming up.
No.
Yeah, and there's.
I think it's sad that they don't get that as much attention.
Yeah, well, watch. Stand by because there's a 50-year-old Italian dude, transgender, who has won like 11 national Italian titles as a male sprinter, and decided about 5 years ago, I'm a chick now, and is going to be running, and has a degenerative eye condition, so basically is blind. So is going to be running in the blind women's sprinting.
You can't write shit like this.
No.
You can't even write stuff like this. This is amazing.
No. They run with like a guide.
I don't know. I don't know how to. No, it doesn't look like it because I've looked at pictures of him online. And hey, que bella salsicha.
That's so fucking funny.
Yeah.
There's a young Canadian girl. She's obviously of Greek origin. Who's I think she's in track and field. Like I don't know the distance she runs, but she's fucking amazing. She won last Olympics. Her name is I think it's Katerina Papagostantino or some shit like that. But she's amazing, and I look forward to watching her. She has one prosthetic leg, but she's so fucking awesome. She runs so fast. I've been following her for a couple years now. Mainly because she was Greek, and I didn't even know we had a Greek Paralympic.
So she's Paralympics,
yeah. I think she's based out of Ontario.
Did you see the Canadian girl who I think she medaled in the pole vault, and she's got an OnlyFans account?
A lot of athletes had, from what I read, there was a lot of athletes that funded their trip to the Olympics, the whole participation, through OnlyFans.
Yeah, because she's hot. Like she's really.
They're all hot. I mean, these are elite athletes. They have the top bodies you can wish for.
Can you imagine what must be going on in the Olympic
Except
Village?
the weightlifters. Those. Yeah.
Remember the Russian guy from '76?
Be honest. Look at the screen right now.
Is this the OnlyFans?
I don't know.
High jumper. This is the Greek girl.
It's not the Greek girl.
But be honest. Be honest. Are you clapping? Are you clapping?
She's not an athlete.
No, it doesn't matter. She works out though. But are you clapping? Look, prosthetic legs and everything.
Is that her real ass?
It looks like it.
Yeah.
These people amaze me. And then
are you you guys didn't answer my question. Are you clapping?
No, but here's
are you clapping the booty cheeks? Is what I'm asking.
You're slapping, but. You see this, and then you just quickly think of yourself, I don't feel like training today. Fuck, I don't know. I have a bit of a sore back. I don't know. I slept a little crooked today. I don't know. I didn't wake up on the proper side of the bed. Whatever. And then you have these people that are missing limbs that are just finding every opportunity to just stay healthy. Good for them.
Do you guys mind if I eat Israeli dates? Does that make me complicit in genocide?
No, go ahead.
Okay.
To be honest, she'd make a very good girlfriend. You know, like she starts acting up, just take her legs away. What is she gonna do?
Oh my god! So yeah, no, we're talking about the OnlyFans. Yeah, so there's a lot of athletes that I read that funded this whole participation through OnlyFans, and it just goes to show you how crappy amateur sports funding is. Especially here in Canada. I mean, we've known this for years, right? It doesn't exist, and I think the IOC funds amateur sport in all these countries. But I mean, at some point, I mean, how much money can you give to be able to support all these athletes? So I just find it sucks for them that they have to find other means. And you know what? It's unfair because you have the athletes that get the most visibility, like the ones that run track or the swimmers. They can probably go get a shitload of money through sponsorships. But imagine
the high profile sports.
Yeah, like imagine the hammer thrower or the shot putter.
We won the hammer throw. That guy, yeah.
Doesn't he look like a hammer thrower? Like I saw,
not really. He looks like David Crosby to me.
I saw him like this guy for sure threw something,
but he's not. He's a big strapping guy. He's not a big thick.
No, but
guy.
it's like the mullet and the mustache is you've been throwing shit all your life. You know, like on some farm.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Did you see the guy who missed the high jump because he knocked the bar off with his cock? Did you see that? Beside
it was a French guy, right?
I saw it on repeat actually.
Poor guy.
Not poor guy. Poor nothing. Poor guy. Nothing. Yeah, he's
his OnlyFans page is going to skyrocket now.
Yeah.
But imagine you practice your like 4 years, you sacrifice everything, you're training at the highest level, and your dick fucks you up. Oh my god, that is one sport that I have absolutely no idea how they do it. I mean, it's so technical. They're using a pole to bend themselves like fucking 5 meters in the air.
I also have no idea how the sport originated. You know, at what point did somebody go, "Hey, I got an idea. Well, let's get a big fucking bendy pole." Maybe it was guys trying to break out of prison, and it became a sport.
I think it's like, how much higher do you think we can jump? You know, so it probably started from the high jump. Oh, the high jump. They're like, oh man, we can go higher.
That's a good question. Let's Google it.
I'm sure it's like, okay, like we should allow ourselves to use like some support or whatever. It's so technical. It's incredible.
Okay.
Are you looking up the origin?
It began in 1850 in Germany. Oh, well, that's weird. Basically,
Well, read it out loud, man.
Interesting.
Yeah.
No, I was trying to come up with a Jewish joke, but it did.
Just fucking read what you're reading.
Sorry.
He's trying to come up with a Holocaust joke.
Yeah.
For Christ's sake.
Because of German, yeah.
But I don't understand how it says where it originated.
Mm-hmm.
It started in 1850 in Germany. Okay.
Maybe they were vaulting over Polish people.
The first competitive vaulting poles were made from solid ash. As the heights attained, increased bamboo poles gave way to
Jorge Rosales writes, Mexicans invented it to jump borders.
It doesn't stay. Oh, poles were used as a means of passing over natural obstacles, waterways, and marshy places throughout Europe. Stacks of jumping poles were kept at home to enable people to cross over canals and waterways without getting wet. Venetian gondoliers have historically used their punting poles to vault themselves to shore from their boats.
Cool.
That's cool.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. I love that sport. It's so cool. I find like the way like you can't mess that up.
No, unless you get a big hammer.
Yeah.
And you knock the bar over.
I've seen other clips where the guy jumps, and as he's turning around, he doesn't toss his pole. And it just keeps dropping forward, and as he jumps over, it just nails him right in the dick.
Yeah, some of the wipe ups can be pretty funny in that sport.
Yeah. Oh my God. So I didn't watch that much Olympics. I don't know. I didn't.
Canada did really well.
Yeah.
I think we had one of our highest medal counts.
It was, yeah.
I don't know if it was the highest medal count.
I think it was the record. I think we had like 24 or something.
To me, everything has an asterisk because Russia didn't compete.
Yeah, they're pretty competitive.
Yeah.
Although, knowing what we know now, how many of those medals were actually won fairly, you know?
What, our medals?
No, the Russians.
You think the Russians cheat?
Well, you think? There was this whole scheme of how, you know, they would drug their athletes, and it was this whole...
Back in the day, the East Germans were notorious, right? Like the East German women were more manly than the most men from other countries, and you could make jokes about it. That was a great thing. You could make jokes about, hey, that East German woman pole vaulter, what a guy, and everyone would laugh if you said that now. It would be
you're canceled. They're closing your account.
Transphobic bigot. Fuck off.
Yeah. But there were some Russian athletes. They compete under like some independent athletes banner or something.
Did they? I don't know.
Yeah, because in tennis, what's his name? That tennis player, Felix Auger-Aliassime won him. Mm-hmm. What's his name?
Not Medvedev.
Was it? No, I can't remember. He won him to advance to the finals. I think he made it to the finals. Damn, I can't remember.
I did not know that there were Russians competing.
Yeah. It's this weird flag. I couldn't, IOU or IDU or some shit like that. I think it's like independent something. I'm not sure.
Yeah. I liked that we won that 4x100 meter relay and shoved it up that American's ass.
Yeah, what a cocky bastard. I saw the clip where they're asking him.
That's fucking karma, man. That's karma.
Oh my God, right up your ass. Just for the people that missed it, they were being interviewed, and the reporter was asking, I don't know what his name is, but he was really cocky, and he's like,
one of the American
one of the American sprinters, like, are you afraid of Canadians? And he's like, who? He's like, Canadian. He's like, who?
Yeah, twice he said.
Yeah,
twice
he said,
who?
Times, yeah. Who? Yeah.
Yeah, and then Canada won the gold. Did they even make the final? They got disqualified. I don't know if they... didn't they have something happen with their baton?
They didn't switch, or they didn't exchange the baton in the allotted zone that they have. So I think they passed it, and that's why they got disqualified.
Yeah, anyway, it looked good on them. It looked really good.
It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah, we had bad... We had bad outfits, eh? The Canadian. Somebody pointed out they looked like bacon
online. Yeah. They had a line like 5-6 athletes. Yeah. Under it was just bacon strips
of bacon. Yeah, and that's what it looked like. They looked like bacon strips. Summer McIntosh was the big Canadian hit of the games. Yeah,
so good.
3 gold medals in the pool. She's 17.
Yeah,
she's 17. I have a daughter who's 16. Who's a good swimmer, and I have been encouraging her to get back in the pool. And she's not interested, but she can do all that shit, man. She can do the, I don't know if she'd ever be a competitive. She swam competitively when she was little. I don't know if she'd get back to anything approaching an elite level of competition, but she can do the butterfly. You ever try to do the butterfly?
Yeah.
Fuck. That's crazy. Like, I've been swimming my whole life, and I'm a pretty good swimmer. I can't do the fucking butterfly.
I can do maybe 3. Now, because my shoulder dislocates easily, so forget about that. But I don't think I can do more than 3. Or back in the day, 3. 4.
But I was watching this Summer McIntosh.
And for sure I'm not doing it correctly.
Yeah. Well, I know that I don't swim correctly because anytime Allie comes into the pool when I'm swimming, she tells me everything I'm doing wrong. But I'm watching Summer McIntosh thinking, shit, Allie, that could be you.
Yeah.
That could be you. But she wants to do her own thing.
It's so impressive. I get emotional with Olympics. Like, I mean, these athletes, and they win. It's just a big thing.
How about why am I blanking on his name? Tennis buddy, who won the gold medal. Djokovic.
Oh, Djokovic. Yeah.
Did you see him?
Yeah, he was so emotional.
Yeah, he was bawling like a child. Yeah. He's gone through a lot of shit though.
Yeah. Well, he didn't compete the last ones, I think, because of he didn't want to get vaccinated. Yeah.
And good for him, I say. If you don't want to get vaccinated,
well, in retrospect, he was right.
Yeah. And it's just one of the many hypocritical standpoints of, the same people who are my body, my choice when it comes to abortion. You better get vaccinated.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, fucking Nazi.
But when it comes to these elite athletes, you would imagine that they're followed by these teams that, everything is measured. This guy's competing at the top level. He knows what he's putting in his body. He knows how he's exercising. He knows exactly what goes in his body that causes what pain or what harm or whatever. And he knows that if I take this shit, it may affect me this way. Like
he's also his own man, Djokovic. That's what I like about him. He marches to his own drummer, and he's, I think that there's. I think there's probably an ideological element also to him not wanting to take the vaccine. I think like a lot of people, he was like, you're not going to fucking tell me what to do. You're not going to tell me what I'm going to put in my body. You're not going to tell me whether or not I can leave my own home and what time I can go out and what time I can't.
He doesn't hold back. This whole thing that happened with the opening ceremony where they kind of teased the Last Supper.
Yeah.
The committee said, no, it has nothing to do with that. But I mean, we all know what the fuck that was, right? They came out of a dish, that plate thing they raised. So it was clearly a supper scene, right?
Yeah.
And I was reading an article, Djokovic, in his first tennis game, he came out wearing a cross. I don't know if you saw that.
No.
Yeah, and he came out and he was like,
good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him. I don't know why the IOC chose to go down that road, because they knew that would be divisive. They knew that would cause a backlash. Yeah. And it distracted from the athletes.
Yeah.
There was a lot of great shit that happened athletically that got overshadowed because people were arguing about the opening ceremonies, about the boxing controversy.
Yeah.
The closing ceremonies were less controversial. I didn't watch the whole thing. I tuned in just after they sacrificed the poodle to Zorkon, the space god.
I didn't see it.
They didn't do that. The only thing I saw was like this weird looking bug kind of thing, and I thought, okay, I guess those are the bugs that we're going to eat when we all own nothing and we're happy.
What about that whole story with the river and how disgusting it was? And like, no, it's good. And then they had the triathletes just puking their fucking guts as soon as they finished the swimming.
I wouldn't. There's no way. It'd be like swimming in the Lachine Canal. I mean, it's one of the oldest rivers, one of the oldest cities in Europe. Mm-hmm. How much shit has gone into that river over the last 2,000 years, and
think that you can clean it, and they spent over €1 billion, I think, and they still weren't sure. They had like an advisor. Oh, today it's not good, or tomorrow it's gonna be better. How do you know?
What's the shit index in the Seine today, Jacques?
Poor athletes, man.
Il y a beaucoup de merde aujourd'hui. Pas de nager.
No, but imagine you're like that athlete, right? You're training your entire fucking life. It's 4 years. You're getting ready, and then you come at a point where you have to decide, do I fucking participate or not, because I don't want to swim in this shit. We just spoke about how religious they are about their body and maintaining their health, and now they're forcing you to swim in this shit. You're gonna do it because you've been training your whole life for it. You're like, fuck it, I'm gonna do it. I need to compete. That's how their mindset works. So you're gonna jump in. Oh my God, I was seeing those scenes of these guys puking on the way. I'm like, oh God. We were talking on the way here about the floods, and I'm like, I can't imagine getting the city sewer back up in my basement. I'd burn my house down and leave. And these guys had to swim in it.
Yeah.
Fucking disgusting.
Yeah, and it wasn't a quick dip either. I think
they have to swim for what, 2 miles?
2.5 miles, I think.
That's a long time in the shit.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
Thanks anyway. So there were actually people puking when they get out?
No. Yeah, there were like 2 or 3. As soon as they came out of the water, like blah, blah, they were puking. This guy is disgusting. It's this guy like, how do you put athletes through that? I mean, you're worried about their safety and security, and you put them in your stupid river. Like, what kind of point do you want to prove? Because they had created a whole other basin for the other sport, like for the rowing, I think, and for other stuff. They had a separate installation for that. Why couldn't you have them swim in there?
Yeah, let them swim there. Anyway, I thought it was a real gong show of an Olympics, and I think LA will be even worse.
You think so?
Yo, fuck yeah.
No,
yeah,
come on.
because you're going to have the Hollywood elite, right? It's going to, LA, Los Angeles is 10 times more woke than Paris. Are you kidding me?
I'm curious.
It's going to be, I suppose a lot can happen between now and then. It would be great if Trump won the election and he was still president for the Los Angeles Olympics.
The next Olympics are in 2028.
2028, yeah, and it will be in the summer of 2028. So whoever wins the election, they'll still be.
It'll be the last year. Yeah, it'll be the last.
Yeah. So he could really fuck with. He could really fuck with that.
It's gonna be so fun.
Yeah. So we can use that as a segue into the Trump and Elon Musk mutual masturbation fest. On X.
I didn't listen to it. See, I heard, because I went online, and obviously everything is negative online. And then you told me that apparently Elon Musk said, "Look, the invitation is open. This is a conversation, so it's going to be very, unofficial." And he invited Kamala Harris, which is nice. But nobody even mentioned that on the comments that I was reading online.
Well, it's on his Twitter account, his X account. And he said Kamala is welcome for a Spaces conversation as well. And I think that that's an invitation that she has to accept. She has to accept that. If she wants to prove herself, she's got to go into the lion's den.
She hasn't given any interview, since
I know she hasn't.
Well, she's officially a candidate. She got the nomination, right? I mean, they did the convention, right? The Democrats. She's officially the candidate now.
I'm not too. No, I don't think they've done that.
Wasn't it in August or in the beginning of August?
Well, if it was, it passed me by, and I find it hard to believe that it passed me by. I don't think she's officially gotten the nomination yet, but she's got to. You're not auditioning for Cats.
No, exactly.
You want to be the president of the United States.
You got to be.
And you've got this guy with this massive platform inviting you to go on and have a conversation like he had with Trump. If you say no, you come off as a coward. I don't care how you spin it. If you say no, you come off as a coward. Look at Trump. He went into the lion's den. He went to that Black Journalists Association convention, and he was attacked right out of the gate.
For sure.
Like the woman who was moderating that panel came at him hard right out of the gate, and he stood in there and he took the punches, and he was up on that stage for like 90 minutes. She's got to do that. If she doesn't,
is there going to be a debate? Because I heard something about someone refusing to debate. I don't know if it's her or Trump.
No, I think there's going to be at least one debate, and I think that's been finalized later on this month. I think there's going to be at least one debate, and I listened to Trump and Elon until I fell asleep because they were basically just rehashing, their shop-worn talking points, and it's the Mutual Admiration Society. Elon Musk is
probably zero challenge.
No, not at all. They're just like I said, it was
just an open platform. Say what you have to say. Spit your message out.
Mutual Masturbation Fest, and it was to that extent, it was actually quite boring. There was just. From what I heard, nothing new came out of it. It was just Trump rehashing his same old talking points. Kamala, she's not very bright. Let's face it, she's a stupid person. And Elon Musk going, yeah. So there, it really, all it did was it demonstrated, the power and the reach that Musk has with that platform. I don't know what the final numbers were in terms of how many people listened. They had trouble getting it off the ground. It was supposed to start at 8 o'clock, and it didn't start until after 8:30 because of technical difficulties. And Musk claimed it was a hacking attack, a DDoS, whatever that stands for, attack. And his critics were saying that bullshit. It wasn't that. It was just that you don't know how to run your fucking platform. Either way, they finally got it up and running, and they talked for about 2 hours. And like I say, nothing new came out of it.
Well, it gave the opportunity to Trump to just state his position, get his lines out.
And he's offered Kamala the same
She
opportunity.
has to do. You're right. She has no
it won't
choice.
because Musk backs Trump. It won't be as friendly as his conversation with Trump.
I doubt she'll do
probably,
it, though.
but
I doubt she'll do it.
But you put her on any mainstream media network, and she's going to get the kid gloves treatment from them because they're all aligned with her.
Exactly.
And that's just the way it is right now. The mainstream media, mainstream news media is all aligned with Kamala. And some of the big independent voices like Musk on social media are aligned with Trump. That's just the reality of it. But, the reality is also social media is hugely influential, and maybe even, I think it's more influential now than mainstream media. You look at guys like Musk and Tucker Carlson and the reach that they have on social media.
Yeah, just between the two of them.
It dwarfs the mainstream media. So I think she's got to go on. Poseidon, find that other clip that I sent you of the comedian who does the Kamala Harris imitation. I forgot to play this last week.
Funny.
Have you seen her yet?
No.
She's an absolute scream, and her account got hacked. She got this comedian. She got knocked off Twitter earlier this week or last week because her account got hacked, because she's so funny, and it's comedy. Like, listen to her, she nails it.
This looks fake though. It looks like AI.
No, that's her.
Hold on.
I'll be running for president
That's so good.
of the United States. And we have states. And they're united. And because, think about it. States should be united. And all the states now, well, they have a president to preside over them. Oh, that's good. And think about everything that we see and that we haven't seen yet in order to reside and live in those states. But the question stands: who will unite these United States? Oh, I'm good. Yeah, I'm gonna win.
She's got the laugh down and everything, eh? She's really, really good. I can't remember her name. I think it's Esther somebody or other, and she's also got the Israeli flag on her Twitter account, so that'll just make people hate her even more, right?
She's so good. What do you think is going to happen if Kamala Harris wins?
Nothing. Nothing will change.
Well, because
not a lot will change even if Trump wins. Did much change when Trump won in 2016?
Here's the question I have. I mean, we all saw how things degenerated. After the allegations of cheating and all that stuff, and that he was robbed the elections and blah blah blah. Maybe they're true, maybe they're not. But I refuse to go down that road. But you have a situation where Trump was leading by a landslide. I mean, he was, Biden was not even on the horizon. Everyone was saying that it's over. He's going to win the next election. It's going to be Trump. And then suddenly they bring Kamala Harris. You're looking at the polls. She's ahead. And,
if you believe the polls.
That's what I was going to say. I mean, polls, I know exactly how polls work. What happens if she wins?
If it's suspect, I don't know. All bets are off. All I remember from the last election is I remember going to bed that night and thinking to myself, fuck, he's going to win again. Because he had a substantial lead whatever time it was I went to bed. And then in the middle of the night, when everybody was asleep, everything changed.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, Biden won. So it was, and to me, remains. I'm just afraid
suspect. I'm just afraid of further polarization in the U.S. I mean, we're already there. I mean,
well, it doesn't matter who wins; it's going to be polarized because the Trump derangement syndrome is such that if he wins, then the anti-Trump crowd is just they're gonna ratchet it up, five more notches.
I just feel like we should just turn the fucking page, ignore all these people, get someone that is not that well known, and get back to where things were before. Because I just feel now that it's just a chain reaction, right? The one that's going to follow Trump. You have JD Vance, he's his VP. They're preparing him for the next chapter, right? I mean, it's obvious what they're doing, and it's just one person following the one before him, and I just don't know how deep this thing will go. I don't know.
Yeah, and there's also the question of, and we were talking about this on the way in today, like more and more, maybe it's because I'm old and crazy now, but more and more I buy into stuff like the deep state. Because who's running it right now? Where's Biden? He's still the president, but you don't see or hear anything. Well, somebody put on Twitter yesterday or the day before, which White House intern is running the United States today? And it just becomes increasingly clear to me that particularly in the Biden administration, the politicians are just figureheads. And the big decisions are being made behind the scenes. And I think that's what they don't like about Trump. He's his own man.
Yeah.
And the political establishment, the swamp, as he calls it, they don't like politicians who don't do what they're told.
Yeah.
And
but who is it? Like who runs the show?
Suppose the intelligence communities, like CIA. What was it? Chuck Schumer said during, I don't know if it was during the last election campaign, but he was talking about Trump taking on the intelligence community, and he said the intelligence community has 6 ways from Sunday to fix your wagon if you take them on.
He admitted that live on air.
Yeah, in an interview. And Dennis Miller had a great.
He's so fucking.
Yeah, he had, and this is from a number of years ago. I think Obama was still the president when Dennis Miller did this bit, but he was talking about. He said when you get elected president of the United States, 2 things happen right off the bat. The first thing they do is they let you give the alien corpse at Roswell a titty twister. And then they take you downstairs into the basement of the White House and show you here's how really fucked up things are binder. And I think that's funny, but I don't think he's far off the mark there. Like I think there's just so much that goes on that we don't know about. And I think particularly you can't tell me at this point that Biden's not a figurehead. You saw him. We all saw him in the debate. Sure. He doesn't know what the fuck's going on.
Yeah.
Like he's a dementia sufferer, but he's the president of the United States. So he's clearly not making the choices.
No.
He doesn't know what fucking flavor pudding he wants. How's he going to make a big decision on the economy or foreign policy?
He went down really quickly, eh?
Well, I don't know how quickly he went down because they were trying to prop him up, and the mainstream media was complicit in this too.
No, I'm just saying his health.
Now, I think a lot of people think he's been like that all along.
Really?
And they've just been. Yeah,
he looked okay when Obama was there as his VP.
Yeah, but even then he was, they'd bring him in for some ceremony at the White House, and he'd be grabbing little kids and smelling their hair. And, he's a fucked up old dude, man. Come on, Peepaw. Quit grabbing the kids.
It's sad, no, but it's sad to see. He's like,
yeah.
He's all stiff.
Yeah, he's a feeble old man with dementia.
There's no way he could have done that election. There's no fucking way.
No.
There's no way. And I can't believe they waited this long. They actually thought that, he's our guy. What's wrong with you people?
It has to be, I think it was calculated to a certain extent. And maybe the calculation was, let's wait until the last minute or,
so that we can just squeeze the person we really want.
We'll put her in there, but don't give her so much time that she's going to fuck it up.
Yeah.
Put her in there and ride that short-term momentum to a win. Put her in there in July, and hopefully she can keep that momentum going until November and win it. Yeah, because if you put her in there too soon,
you can fuck up easily.
Yeah, she's going to end up being
too many possible
being exposed. Yeah. But I really think that it behooves her. I think this is an opportunity for her, if she has the goods, if she's actually smart enough to be an effective president. This is the Musk invitation is her opportunity. Go into the lion's den. Let's see what you can do. Prove yourself. Because if she can go on for 2 hours or an hour and a half or whatever with Elon Musk and hold her own, that's going to win. That's going to win some votes for her from undecided independent voters.
It's not about holding her own, because I don't think Elon Musk is going to challenge her that much compared to a seasoned journalist that has the research and that has the, that has prepared well enough. Like I'm thinking of a Tucker Carlson, for example, who obviously is against her.
Yeah.
Obviously he's on the other side. But you go against a guy like that, and you come out.
It would be interesting if she went on with Elon and then he said, "Oh, by the way, Tucker's here."
We've got a surprise guest over here. Let's just bring him in.
Yeah, well, then if she, if you don't think that he would be that great a challenge, all the more reason for her to go on.
Yeah,
I really, really think it's incumbent on her to take that invitation, because I don't think the media will spin it on her behalf of, oh, she doesn't owe Elon Musk anything, or it wouldn't be a fair interview, and blah, blah. They can spin it all they want. At the end of the day, it's transparent cowardice if she says no.
The media has taken such a bad hit, man. And we're talking about this again on the way in. It's crazy how fast the credibility the media once had disappeared. And I mean, we saw that. Remember when Tucker Carlson interviewed Putin?
Yeah.
Immediately the media jumped on that. What is he doing, and how could he do that? Blah blah blah. He's a fucking journalist, and he got the interview. You're gonna tell me that any other journalist, whether it's Fox and CNN, ABC, NBC, whatever, you're gonna tell me if they had the opportunity, they wouldn't take it to interview Putin? Come on, man. You got to be out of your mind to think that. So good for him for doing that, but it's every media ganged up on him.
Yeah, well, what has happened, and I'm not entirely sure why it's happened, but what has happened is that, and I've been in and around newsrooms for over 45 years. When I started out in radio news in the late 70s, the news media was the watchdog against establishment excess. Now the news media is the propaganda arm of the establishment.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that switch came about probably around the time of Obama.
Yeah. The rise of social media and online.
But I'm not sure, I'm not entirely sure why. I know that most people who go into journalism now are very left of center. A lot of them are Marxist. That's what's taught now in universities, in journalism, not just in journalism school, but in liberal arts in general. So there's a prevailing mentality in the intellectual class now, which includes journalists, that leans very, very heavily left. And that thinking also permeates government as well now, particularly when liberals or in Canada or Democrats in the U.S. are in power. So, and again, this is why I think they hate Trump so much, because he's not one of them.
It's incredible. It's incredible. And I don't know if at any point in time it's going to come back to what it was, but this brings us into the CBC. And we've spoken about the CBC before on the show, and how rapidly they lost the credibility and how judgmental the opposition has been, especially considering the funds that they get as a public broadcaster, and how horribly it's been managed the last couple of years. And they brought I forget what her name is, the chairman, the CEO or whatever the fuck her name is,
the one who lives in New York.
I forget her name. They had brought her into for questioning in a committee to explain exactly how are you spending your money, and why would it justify for the government to give you, what was it, $1.5 billion or $1.3 billion?
Yeah, it's well over $1 billion.
Oh my God, it was, considering also that they were cutting jobs. They couldn't figure out a budget.
Yeah, not only are they cutting jobs. I have a friend who's he's actually already texted me a few times today. He worked at the CBC for oh God, he must have been there for like a good 25 years.
Yeah.
He recently retired. And him and I are always joking about how the reporters are never at the scene of what they're reporting on. So he said to me this morning, CBC had a report in Greece today from Toronto and a report on a doctor's strike in India from London. Reporter in London pronounced Calcutta as Kolkata.
Cold cuts.
Yeah. I was watching the CBC about a month, it would have been a month ago today, because a month ago today was Bastille Day in France, right?
Bastille.
Bastille Day. That's what the anchor
Bastille.
said. On the fucking CBC News Network, the national news network, the anchor said, and in France, they're celebrating Bastille Day.
Bastille.
Yeah, and then the next day she called Shohei Ohtani, who's the best baseball player in the world, bar none. Like he's like the Lionel Messi of baseball, world renowned. Shohei Ohtani, she called him Shohani Ohtani. Yeah, and she's an award-winning
Journalist.
Yeah.
No, but there was the news that came out that, and they had to access this from the
Access to information?
the access to information laws, whatever, and they got figures that CBC paid over $18 million in bonuses
Yeah.
for the 2023
To a relative handful of people.
No, not so much. It says here that they paid out bonuses to close to 1,200 employees. But more than 3.3 million of that was paid to 45 executives.
Which is a relative handful.
Which, yeah, exactly. Which means that if they broke it down and it comes out to approximately, over $73,000 for each one of these guys, which is way above the median income that families earn. And this is at a time where hundreds of people have lost their jobs.
And that's coming out of the pockets of the people who lost their jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
And other taxpayers.
So at some point you're wondering, okay, this is obviously government regulated, right? I mean, the government funds the CBC. In addition to the money they're getting from advertisers, right? So these guys are getting money from all sorts. And this is the main complaint that private companies have towards the CRTC, like Quebec, for example, Pelodo, who's like, listen, we don't get a fucking penny.
Mind you, and this goes back to what you were saying about, when did it turn that the media became the propaganda arm of the government? In Canada, a lot of private media is funded by the government, does get money from the government on a regular basis.
Okay.
Print and broadcast media. I can't give you the exact numbers. I'd have to look it up. But the Trudeau government got on that train. They started funding media. So are you going to bite the hand that feeds you?
Yeah, I get it.
And maybe Quebec, if Pelodo is complaining, maybe Quebec doesn't get any money from the government, and maybe he should be banging on their door and saying,
but why wouldn't he, though? If other private...
Well, you know what? I think Pelodo's probably got more integrity than a lot of... And also, it's... Pelodo's not he's his own man, right? That's his company, and he runs it. It's not a corporation run by...
He still has to abide by the rules of the CRTC because he is in broadcasting.
I understand, but he's not, he's not a giant... Well, he is to some extent a giant media conglomerate, but he runs the show there, right?
Yeah.
He makes the calls there. Yeah. It's not like there's not a vote.
No.
Yeah.
He's the man.
Yeah.
He's the man. Well, I mean, there's a board of directors and stuff.
Yeah.
Sure.
But at the end of the day,
he's a giant corporation.
Yeah,
but
he's the boss. Yeah. Because he owns it.
Yeah.
Like, CTV is owned by Bell.
Right.
There's not one individual person at the top of that pyramid who can make a call and overrule everybody else the way that Pelodo can. And
it's incredible how he's built this empire, right? I mean,
it was his old man who started
it, was
right?
It was dad. But I mean, he took it. He bought video. I mean, it's huge. What he has is huge.
Yeah.
And when you think that other major media corporations are owned by other major corporate like Bell, like you mentioned, or Rogers or whatever it is, it's even more impressive to see that one guy has built all this stuff, you know?
Yeah.
But back to the CBC, it's ridiculous. And you know what I'm happy about? I'm happy that the political class, and of course it's the right wing, right? It's the conservatives that are calling them out. live. He doesn't like. That's what I love about Poilievre, and I don't agree with him on everything. But when he gets stupid questions, he calls them out.
Yeah.
He's like, "You're from Canadian Newswire, yeah?
Yeah.
You're CBC, okay, yeah. It makes sense that you're asking me that stupid question." He doesn't care.
No,
and he's right to do that, because the same way that we think that like what you just said, that media is supposed to
supposed to be a watchdog.
Exactly, a watchdog. He's doing that for them now.
Yeah.
He's like, listen, you're not
He's
doing
the
your
watchdog,
job.
yeah.
You're not doing your job.
Yeah.
You've misquoted me. You've apologized. And I think it's the CBC. They had to issue a correction, I think 3 times on stuff that he's called them out on. Imagine. Like, where's your research? Like, how do you guys put out articles like that without properly verifying them?
Well,
where
the
the fuck is the
CBC
CRTC?
Yeah, the CBC doesn't want him to win because he's not a fan of the CBC.
Well, he said that he's cutting the funding.
Yeah. Entirely or a percentage?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There was a time, I think, when the CBC, before it was a blatant propaganda arm for the government, where it was, it was fulfilling its mandate as, a network that, united the country. And, we all got to watch Mr. Dress Up and Hockey Night in Canada.
I mean, look, I still follow Peter Mansbridge. He has a podcast. It's called The Bridge. And I love Peter Mansbridge.
Yeah. Does he talk about CBC honestly and openly?
No.
No, eh?
No, it's Peter Mansbridge, but it's just his own podcast.
But I would like to know his opinion.
He doesn't.
On that.
He doesn't.
He should.
He should.
He should.
I don't think he will. I mean, he was the face of CBC for so long. They took care of him. He's not. I don't think he would ever attack them. Sometimes.
Well, I'm not saying he should attack them, but I
just
think
to
he
call
should,
them out.
Yeah, I think he should be honest about them.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think so. I don't think. In fact, on a lot of episodes that I've listened to, he uses them as a source. And even though you're like, yeah, but that's bullshit, dude. You know what I mean? So he's still kind of favoring CBC. Maybe it makes sense because of the history he has with the CBC. But as an individual, Peter Mansbridge was he was the most trusted man in news.
Yeah. I would love to get my friend in here sometime. I'm going to ask him next time you're on the podcast.
Who's this?
I'm not going to say his name because I don't want to put him.
Oh, the guy that you're just.
Yeah. Because he just recently retired, but he's got such great stories. He was
kind of behind the scenes in production.
No, he was a
journalist.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And a good one too for a long time. And I wouldn't be. I don't think that he. I think he could come on and tell his stories and not. I think that his, as far as I know, his.
I mean, if he's no longer employed,
his pension is ironclad.
Why would can you imagine them cutting his pension because of shit he says?
Oh, fuck, I'd love to have him in though to tell some stories.
Oh my God!
And he wouldn't come in. This is a guy who's got so much integrity. Like he's an old school journalist. He wouldn't come in and badmouth anybody just for the sake of badmouthing them. He would come in and tell these stories because they're great stories,
and because they happen.
Yeah, and because they happen.
Yeah.
But I don't know when he's going to be in Montreal again, because I think he's going to be very busy traveling the world.
Good for him.
Yeah, yeah. His wife just retired too. Another long time CBC reporter. Like they're just such great people, and they deserve nothing but the best in life. And I would love to have him and tell. I love talking to him about behind the scenes stuff because he's got such great stories.
Those are the best stories.
Yeah.
Speaking of media, I sent you guys an article, and specifically with Quebecor, because they just made this bold move that is going to change the media landscape here in Quebec. We've spoken about many occasions. Paul Arcand, who was the main radio figure here in Quebec on 98.5, he retired. Well, didn't retire from the job. He left 98.5. He's going to be doing podcasting now under the banner of La Presse. So that leaves a huge void, right? Especially in the morning section on radio.
Is he officially gone now? They all go away in the summertime on French radio, right?
Yeah. It just started this
Patrick
week.
Lagacé is going to replace him.
He started Monday, yeah.
Patrick Lagacé did start already?
He started on Monday.
Oh, really? They didn't wait until Labor Day?
No.
Interesting.
Usually end of August. That's when they pick it up again.
Anyway, sorry, I interrupted.
So Patrick Lagacé is taking up the morning spot and space. And, I've mentioned I don't really like Patrick Lagacé. I enjoy reading him. But he comes out as very arrogant. Like I never appreciated him on radio. Anyway, they gave him the morning spot, which is the most listened to program here in Quebec, and I think even in Canada, or at least it was.
Yeah, numbers wise, Arcan had the biggest radio show in Canada.
So here's what Pelado did. And I read the article, and because he's mandated under the CRTC, you cannot own TV, newspaper, and radio under the CRTC law. And because he's on TV and he has the newspapers, he's not able to purchase a radio station. So what he's done, he created a couple of years ago Cube Radio. Cube Radio is online, so it's exactly like a radio studio, cameras.
But it's a streaming service.
But it's a streaming thing, so you have to. It's on. You get a membership. You go online. Cube Radio. There's an
subscribe.
Yeah, and I think there's an application for it too. So it's kind of like a Spotify kind of thing.
Okay.
But there's video and everything. So you can listen to that now. So what he's done is that he found a radio channel, which is 99.5, that plays music basically all day. And he did a deal with them where from morning until late afternoon, they will simulcast Cube Radio on that station.
Okay.
And then in the evening, that radio station is going to go back to their programming.
And did they get CRTC approval for that, or in the process of
No.
applying for it?
That's fine. That's fine.
Yeah, they can do that?
Yeah, they could do that.
Yeah.
As long as it's not the entire day. Like you can't kind of monopolize the time with your programming because you have TV, radio, TV, paper, and radio.
Yeah.
So I think from what I read, the rules, there's a certain percentage of content that you can have. So that's what the deal that they did. So half the day, it'll be whatever you hear on Cube Radio is going to be on the radio. So the people that don't have the app or whatever, tune into the radio. And you're going to have the programming there.
So will they compete with Legacy?
For sure, because it's another radio station now.
Okay.
So it's 99.5.
Oh, and is this where Mario Dumas is going to be the morning man? Oh, that'll be interesting.
And the morning man on Cube Radio is Mario Dumont.
Yeah.
So that's going to be create. Like I've already told my wife, I go, look, I'm switching to 99.5. I can't take Legacy. It doesn't appeal to me. So
and do you think a lot of people feel the same way as you?
Maybe, I don't know. I mean, Mario Dumont is a huge fucking name. First of all, he's one of the smartest guys that I saw in politics.
Yeah.
And when he went into media,
is he even bigger in media than he was in politics?
Yeah,
he is.
Yeah. I mean, he's been doing this for years now.
Yeah, it's true. Like when was he? It was the ADQ. Was that his party?
It was the ADQ.
And that goes back like 20 years.
Well, he was
or more,
after the defeat in 2008. He resigned, and then the party dissolved, and later on it turned into the CAQ. So his last.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
The ADQ, the CAQ's roots were the. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, it was Legault, and he took up whatever was left of the ADQ. There was like 8 or 9 MNAs, and they all kind of merged in, and they made the CAQ. So. It'll be interesting to see what happens, and I think Mario Dumont is way more interesting than Patrick Lagacé.
Yeah,
way more interesting. So it's gonna be gonna be fun to watch, and I'm just wondering if it's a coincidence that he did it now, while Paul Arcand left. Maybe they knew and they were
strike
waiting.
while the iron is hot.
Yeah, like, okay, look, there's a void now because he could have done that any time. But maybe out of respect, he didn't. I don't know. Unless this was just
Arcand is so formidable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And I'm also curious to see what he's going to do on the podcasting side.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be starting now in September. So,
is he going to do one a week too? Do you know?
Every day.
Really?
Every day.
Really?
Every day.
Sounds to me then like he got pushed out.
Maybe.
If he still wanted to work every day.
No, I don't know. I think
like
he says it was his decision. He goes, it was time. And I don't think a guy like Paul Arcand, you push him out.
They pushed Terry DeMonte out.
Yeah.
At Chaume.
Yeah,
Terry DeMonte got pushed out at Chaume.
But it's a different world. You've told me already that, right? French and English media. Like a guy like Paul Arcand, obviously he doesn't own the station. He did,
no.
but
Who
he had
owns that station? What company?
Cogeco, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cogeco is it's another. It's just another big corporation where they.
But he had a lot of pull. He had a lot of say.
Terry had a lot of pull at Chaume too. Yeah. But at the end of the day, someone looked at the balance sheet and said, "Can we get somebody to do the same job for
like
80%
less
for half of that?" And they said, "We can get 3 people for half of that. Do it."
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. So
it's because broadcasters don't run broadcasting anymore. Bean counters do.
Yeah.
Bean counters make the decisions, not broadcasters.
I just think it's interesting what Pelado is doing. And in the beginning, I didn't understand it. I'm like, why the fuck is this guy creating an application? Like, who's going to go on Cube Radio? But then what he did, because he owns Videotron, if you subscribe to Videotron, there's a Cube Radio channel. So they converted whatever audio it was on the platform, they incorporated video, and you could watch them on TV. There's a channel, Cube Radio.
Okay. I'm a Videotron subscriber. So does that mean
you have Cube? I don't know if you have to buy the channel, if it comes automatically. I'm not sure. But search Cube Radio, you'll see it. So he had whatever was happening on Cube Radio. Obviously, you had the audio. Then he put it on his TV channels, and now he's going to go on the mainstream radio platform. So it's huge for them, and I think it's going to change. The fact that you have now in the morning, there was nobody else in the morning. There was Paul Arcand, and that's it.
Really, eh?
Well, that's it. Unless you want to listen to CBC radio in French or whatever, which is really boring.
What about the sports station? They must have had a certain following, because there's always 91.9.
Oh, yeah. I never listened to that. I don't know.
Yeah.
I would listen to hockey on 98.5 with Maguire. What's his name? Paul Maguire. I forget his first name.
Yeah, I know he.
They have the Habs contract, so it's these guys that broadcast the Habs, and Martin Maguire. Yeah. That's it. So it was only Paul Arcand, but now the competition is on. I mean, now it's over. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't know. I'm switching to Mario Dumont. I appreciate Mario, and he's great and he's smart, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen now. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. It's just weird because we've had this conversation so many times, how it's so different. It's two different worlds, right?
Oh,
the French media and the English.
Big time. Yeah.
Like to think that a radio station...
English is small potatoes in Quebec. English media is Montreal English media is medium market at best.
But that's not the impressive thing, Ted. The impressive thing is when you told me that Paul Arcand, which is a Montreal radio station, and because of the French market, he surpasses anything that goes like in Canada. So
he had a bigger audience on 98.5 than any Toronto morning radio show.
That's crazy. You would think like a radio station like CBC that spans across the country would have way more listeners global, like in total, right? But they don't.
No. Paul Arcand was the most listened to radio program in the country.
Fucking CBC. How do you mess that up? You have you're on everyone's radio across the fucking country.
My mom listens.
Really?
Down in Fredericton.
Oh.
Yeah. Hey, Mom.
All right, guys.
Poseidon, button up your shirt, for crying out loud.
It is buttoned. Bro, pick up your pants. Come on, man. All right, guys. We're going to sign off for today. We're going to be back next week.
Yeah.
With another episode of The Morning Show.
We hope you enjoyed
Thank you for tuning in.
Do your radio voice again.
Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you enjoyed this radio broadcast of The Morning Show. Yeah, we got Georgie Boy over there. He was being all sexy for the ladies.
Seriously.
It started like a professional radio thing. It's like,
Yeah.
And now
All of a
we
sudden,
got
it's Blue Nuit.
now we got Ted with a big dick over here. Ted,
Maintenant, monsieur.
Ted Big Bird.
all right, guys, come back next week. Thank you for supporting us. Head on over to patreon.com/Pantelis. Get yourself a subscription. Help that channel and help this channel, the YouTube channel. Subscribe to that channel as well. I am Poseidon.com, the Poseidon69. Ted Bird over here. Follow him because the Standing By Terry and Ted podcast starting really, really, really soon. It's going to be super exciting.
Follow me on social media for updates.
Yeah.
And for my outrageous opinions. For my outrageous right-wing nut job opinions.
There's a lot of good stuff coming with Terry DeMonte that obviously we can't talk about right now, but you're all going to be thrilled and excited about what's coming. And if you speak or understand French, politiquement parlant is where you'll find me every week starting this week on Quebec and Canadian politics. Thank you all so very much. We'll see you next week. Take care, everyone.